We started shooting a video this morning. There's been some chopping and changing. First, we had a brand new stadium at Victoria Park. By the end of the day, it's been quashed and we've got a new stadium somewhere else. I don't know what's happening. We're going to try and delve into it because today we're talking tactics. The Gabba, dead. Brisbane Live, dead. All these things have been dropped in major bombshells this morning after Graham Quirk completed his review of the Olympic venues. So what's going to happen instead? Well, the report has got some 30 odd recommendations, and if we go through the biggest announcement, it's that Victoria Park is going to get a completely new makeover. We've got a new world-class $3.4 billion stadium with a capacity of some 55,000 that is going to be built instead. And really that's going to be the centerpiece of the Olympic Games, provided that, of course, Premier Steven Miles accepts some of the recommendations. But I think we're really at a point where so many different ideas have been thrown around. I've thrown out my own ideas as well. You know, I had the idea of the Gabba 2.0 above Cross River Rail, building a new 70 to 75,000 seat stadium directly above the new Cross River Rail station. Look, I think at this time, because there's been so much back and forth with all these different schemes, we really just need to actually just commit to something, and which is why I'm throwing my support behind the recommendations that Graham Quirk has thrown off, including this new world-class stadium. I was a little bit worried after John Coates came out and said, look, Suncorp's going to potentially get an upgrade to 60,000 seats. We should do the athletics out at QSAC. I just didn't think that these were great legacy outcomes for the games in Brisbane. Really, what we are talking about is some vital infrastructure. It doesn't go without its controversies, but I'm here on the Courier Mail reading the article that was released this morning that the Gabba is being scrapped. That is a major, major bombshell. Like, what's cricket going to be like without the Gabba? Ooh, that's one that's going to have some serious debate over the next couple of weeks and months for sure, because Brisbane without the Gabba, cricket without the Gabba, AFL without the Gabba, geez, that's a bit of a hard one to swallow. But look, at the end of the day, if they're getting a new 55,000 seat at Victoria Park, brand new, I already know that I'm pretty sure the AFL's already thrown their support behind it. I'm sure cricket won't be too far off as well. I mean, who wouldn't want a new $3.4 billion stadium built for them? One of the criticisms is that we're building this for the games. It's completely incorrect. It's not just for the games. We're building it for AFL and we're building it for cricket. This is not just some stadium that's going to sit there doing nothing after the Olympics. Like, it has a purpose. It's got a reason for existing. It will have a life beyond the games. It's not just about the games. Some of the key points that were coming out today is that, well, over the next 8 years, the total spending for the games amounts to 0.5% of the total Queensland state budget. 0.5%. That's nothing, guys. Come on. We can spend 0.5% on redefining Olympics infrastructure, along with leaving that great legacy for cricket and AFL in our state. So we all know Graham Quirk as being the former Lord Mayor. He's actually the guy that started off with the idea of hosting the Olympics in the first place back in 2015. Premier Steven Miles announced that as one of the first acts of what he, as soon as he came into power, that he was going to do a comprehensive review and that the review would be listened to. Well, here's Steven Miles' chance to look at that review and take on board the suggestions. I'm throwing my support behind this new stadium at Victoria Park, $3.4 billion. I think it's a great project. I think it's a great use for the land. It maintains connection back to Exhibition Station, which is part of Cross River Rail. So you are tapping into that major spending across Cross River Rail with the Exhibition Station, and it's providing access and transport back in through to Victoria Park. I think that gives us a great legacy outcome transport-wise, whilst facilitating that with major infrastructure that is within close proximity to Brisbane CBD. It's walking distance. It's like having our own MCG right on the doorstep of Brisbane. 100%, we need to get our support behind this project. Graham Quirk also recommends a new $2.5 billion arena, which completely quashes Brisbane Live. And whilst it's a project that I'd also thrown my support behind, I thought it was a great idea. 17,000 seat arena directly above a train station. I think the simple fact that one of the key reasons as to why Brisbane Live wasn't being pursued above Roma Street Station, it would displace the train services for 2 years. I do think that is, for a business continuity perspective and maintaining those services for residents of Brisbane, I think that is a major impost. I don't think people are going to be really worried about the construction activities across Victoria Park. It's a huge site, plenty of access. There's probably going to be some disruption, but not a whole heap. It's going to be a lot easier to facilitate such a massive build, and also it's cheaper. I mean, a lot of the costings that the state has done have been, I think it's going to cost around about this. They originally said the Gabba rebuild was going to cost about $1 billion. It blew out into the high twos, and realistically it probably would have had a 4 in front of it, if not more, to rebuild the Gabba. I think these are big ticket items that just makes it really hard to fathom for people, particularly taxpayers. This is our city, it's our games, it is our money. We need to spend it wisely. And I think by amplifying the Victoria Park precinct, really that's how we're going to get some fantastic outcomes for our state and our city. This is absolutely fresh news. There's been a 60-day period where we've assessed all the options, a really comprehensive study that's been led by Graham Quirk. That report was finalised and handed to the State Development Minister, Grace, on Friday. They've had the weekend to digest the report. It's been released to the public this morning, Monday morning on the 18th of March. It reviewed more than 900 public submissions. It included inspection of 28 proposed venue sites. It met with 130 stakeholders, and it concluded that the new stadium Victoria Park is going to deliver the best outcome. Plenty of my viewers, you've all mentioned in the comments section below that you want to see it down at QSAC, out at Nathan. This report, it's assessed that as an option. It's just showing it as not being the best place for it. Too hard to get public transport, billions of dollars. It just didn't have a great legacy outcome for the city. This is a far superior outcome in my view. It will be cheaper, it is more cost considered. It's not going to affect public transport services like it would have if we did it at Roma Street, if we did it at the Gabba. It's going to make it a lot easier, because I don't know about you guys. I mean, of course I live in Brisbane. I've been driving around. Traffic is getting worse. There is a lot of construction work underway at this moment. Stomaching not being able to use public transport services like train for 2 years, that would make things really tough, particularly for a main station like Roma Street. Replacing Boondall Entertainment Centre, thankfully. I went to Boondall at the end of last year for an event, and it took me a good hour and a half post leaving the event to get out of the car park. That place the swamp needs to reclaim it. Let the swamp have it. Give us a new venue at Roma Street Parklands. That's a far better outcome. You're going to be able to tap into all the bars, restaurants, the nightlife activity post a live concert or a live event. It's going to pump more money into our economy. It's going to help all our bars and restaurants. It's just a no-brainer. Keep it close to the city as possible. We need to make it easy for people to get in and out of this place. They did consider rebuilding the Gabba. The Gabba just needs to get demoed. That's the plan. The plan makes complete sense. It does leave a bit of a hole as to what you do, but maybe we can talk about that as a subsequent venue, really delve into what can be done with that site, because I'm sure there is going to be some better outcomes than what was proposed. It was just too much disruption. Where does the Lions play? Where do the Crickets play? Where do the Test matches go whilst it was under construction? It just created a whole host of issues. It just makes it so much easier to go, well, keep the existing venue as is for the moment, and whilst the new build is underway. Once it's finished, hey, you demo that and you start again. You start fresh. You do something else with the site. And I do think that you can come up with some quite massive catalyst changes to really ignite Wollongabba, because the reality is you've got Cross River Rail Station there, you're going to have the Brisbane Metro Station there. This is a place that is going to be ripe for intense densification. It's 1 kilometre away from the city. You've got a huge marquee block. You've got to do something with it. The report goes on to say that, even tarting up the Gabba would cost $1 billion. And really, you're going to end up with this Frankenstein stadium. No one wants to invite the world here, and we've got this eyesore that's been tarted up, and it's just not a nice feel, especially when you've got a use for the stadium post the Olympics. Like, we're a growing city. The only thing that I thought was, proposing it being a 55,000 seat stadium at Victoria Park. Personally, I feel like it's a little bit undercooked. I would have loved to have seen the 70,000 that was touted in the paper. I mean, I talked about the Gabba being 70 to 75,000 as well. I do feel like that as a growing city, we've got something like over 1 million people moving here over the next 2 decades. We're going to have a demand for an increased stadium capacity. Like, Sydney got Tay-Tay, Melbourne got Tay-Tay. We missed out on Taylor Swift. I'm not a big Swiftie fan, but you can see all that money that gets pumped into the economy as a result of the fan fever. And I just feel like if we're going to be treated as a real international city, you want to be competing for those events. You want to make sure that the next Taylor Swift concert or an artist like her goes, yes, I'm going to Brisbane because Brisbane's got a magnificent venue. It can hold the capacity that I need to make it as a commercial success. This is the kind of things that we need to have as part of the fabric of our city. Like, that's the game's legacy. That's what we're doing this for, to have the ability to compete for these events. The plan also endorses build 5 indoor sports centres to address chronic facility shortages. I mean, this is something that's an issue right now. So, I know there's a lot of people that don't want the games. They think it's a big waste of money. I mean, this is stuff we need anyway. Like, this is not just happening just for the Olympics. This is just about community sport. What it did call for was that the proposed centre at Albion be relocated to another site in the northern suburbs of Brisbane. There's some site constraints there. I think it's just too small. The proposal also to build a whitewater centre out at the Redlands, recommended to proceed. I think that's fantastic. I could definitely see that having use prior to the games, post games. Like, this is a good long-term piece of infrastructure that is going to be vital. Recommended against the Toowoomba Sports Grounds upgrade. So sorry, Toowoomba, no big gain there for you guys, but that's because it's been canned because there's limited legacy benefits. I mean, that's really what the review's been about. What's going to actually be utilised post games. It's not just about the Olympics, it's about what happens after the Olympics. And if that venue doesn't have a use post games, cut it, it's gone. And that's what this review's done. Not everyone's gonna agree with this report. I mean, again, for me, a lot of the outcomes are not exactly what I would like to have seen, but you know what? We're at the stage now that if we keep debating it, we're gonna end up with a solution that none of us want. I think this is sensible. Quirky's done an amazing job. Very sensible politician. Was always a fantastic leader within the Brisbane community and a great advocate for the Olympics. I think he's done the right thing. He's a sensible guy. The review is fantastic. I think that we all just need to get behind it now and make sure that we deliver a fantastic games, because we've been talking about it long enough. Like, we just need to have some certainty now. The projects need to proceed. We can't wait any longer, otherwise we're going to be the laughing stock of the international community. I think Shrina did a great job calling this out. He was the first to call out these projects as not really having a direction and effectively rudderless. He's been re-elected as of this weekend, and I think that's testament to him standing up for a lot of these views and being the first one to call it out and saying, hey, we need to do a review. He was right. He was 100% right. He's done the right thing. And this report backs up what he's been saying. It wasn't a collaborative approach. I'll give props to Steven Miles as well for actually saying, hey, let's do the review, as is one of the first things that he's done. I think that was very sensible. Costs were blowing out and they were plaguing the games, and that's not what we want for our city and our state. Just when you thought things couldn't get any crazier, during the editing of the video, around about 3 o'clock this afternoon, Steven Miles dropped an absolute bombshell. He's not going to proceed with the new stadium at Victoria Park. He's completely canned it. He's canned the Gabba. So what is he doing? He said that he's going to revamp QE2 Stadium, QSAC Stadium out at Nathan. at a real budget price of 1.6 billion. I think it's going to cost more than that personally, but I think this is a terrible outcome. I think it's a terrible decision. I think it's playing off politics, particularly because he had massive swings against him at the by-elections over the weekend. I'm just shocked. Everything we said in the video prior, well, you know, half of it doesn't really matter anymore because he's taken the report that Graham Quirk's handed to him and immediately thrown it on the bin and lit it on fire like a big dumpster fire. Like it's absolutely insane. This is crazier than a soap opera. You wouldn't see this stuff on Neighbours. So just to confirm, Gabba, scrapped. He's even saying Victoria Park, massive new stadium, scrapped. Findings of the report, irrelevant. We don't care what an independent report says. He's done it twice already, ignored independent advice in favour of, oh, I'm just going to do it anyway. Well, my question to people of Brisbane and Queensland is, well, if he knew what he was going to do anyway, then why the hell commission an independent report when you're just going to throw it in the bin and not listen to anything that was said? Particularly the marquee finding, you're not going to follow it. Graham Quirk has addressed the issue of QSAC within his report. He said that there's no significant legacy benefit. It's just for the games. So if you want to talk about ripping up $1.6 billion and not even using it ever again, well, this is the project. And this is the project that Steven Miles has chosen to back. Absolutely ludicrous. I think off the back of his poor performance on the weekend's elections, he's rapidly trying to do what he thinks is the political play in order to get him re-elected. That's the wrong move. That's not looking after Queensland's long-term future. That's not looking after for Brisbane's long-term future. That's not creating infrastructure that is going to last beyond the games. It's just tearing up our money. So what do you think? Should we proceeded with rebuilding the Gabba? Did you like the idea of a brand new stadium at Victoria Park? Or do you think the Premier's got it right and refurbishing the existing QSAC Stadium? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for the video. I'd really appreciate the support. My name is Mel Pikos and we've been talking tactics.